Hey everybody, it's Lo, and this is your brand new episode of Lo on the Go. If you are watching, I'm doing my arm series. If you're listening, we are in Central Park today. I am so excited to have an incredible conversation with my friend Carrie Berk. She is so young, she's so accomplished. Oops, forgot my arm series. And we're gonna have a really good chat about mental health, awareness for when you're struggling, and what you should do. It's a great episode. I'm about to meet up with her on this gorgeous, sunny, but freezing cold day. Let's get into our episode. Carrie!
Hello.
Hi! How are you?
I'm good. It is a cold day.
I know, my runner walker. Do you want to get in my jacket?
I know. We're gonna just stay like this, walk around hugging in your jacket.
I know. How are you doing? You took us to Central Park.
I know. This is my happy place. I'm running here almost every day.
Do you live uptown?
I'm born and raised on the Upper East Side.
Okay, a true local.
A true local. I literally grew up going to Central Park every day. So
Do you
perfect place.
Do you run through the park all the time?
All the time.
Wow.
I've started running more on the West Side Highway because it's a little bit better for longer distances.
Mm-hmm.
In the park, it's so many hills. Sometimes I just need a break. I need to change of scenery.
I understand. So I'm curious for you. Is exercise a big part of not only how you stay physically healthy, but mentally well?
Of course. I feel like in 2020, I was the class of 2020. I didn't have a prom or graduation or anything like that. So
a disaster.
Running was basically how I boosted my mental health and stayed grounded to the present. And it kind of just made me feel alive when everything around me was anything but that.
Yeah.
So running is so good for your mental health. I think it can really boost your endorphins. There's scientific benefits to it, and the science doesn't lie.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
love
any
it.
physical activity. I have to say that I tend to dip in and out of exercise.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like a lot of people are that way. I can get hyper focused on something for a couple of months or a year at a time, and then I flip to this position where I do nothing except just walk the streets of New York City for a year.
But that's exercise.
It is exercise, but I don't know why my brain is like that. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I'm
people
not
often
great at
think
routines.
that makes a lot of sense. I feel like people often think that to be an athlete or to consider yourself someone who exercises a lot, you have to be an endurance runner, you have to do high cardio stuff. But something as simple as just getting up and walking is a form of exercise and is good for your mental health because you're getting out there, you're being present, you're doing something that makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't feel guilty.
I know.
Don't get down on yourself.
I found out recently that I have endometriosis and I just had big surgery to remove it. And it's interesting when I look at sort of my health from the past decade, it makes sense because I have had such bad fatigue, such bad back pain that my desire to exercise and move my body has been reduced pretty significantly. And even my doctors were like, your inflammation levels are so bad. I'm like, you have such bad chronic fatigue. They're like, I don't even recommend a lot of exercise for you. Walking and Pilates is what you should be doing. But I think for me, the inability for me to exercise like I used to in my 20s, I think that's something I've had to adapt to and accept to a certain degree. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's more than just exercise that you can use to take care of your mental health. It's nutrition, it's reading, it's meditation. Exercise is not everything. It's just one tool that you can keep in your toolkit.
I love talking about the toolkit.
Everyone has their metaphor.
Yeah, everyone has their toolkit, and I love to learn what tools are in other people's toolkits, and I'm very curious what is in yours. Because I know that you've dealt with a lot of mental health issues and challenges, just like a lot of people, right? And I'm so curious because you've had a really unique journey and you're still so young, but you're so accomplished. You've written so many books. Did your new book come out yet?
My new book comes out May 13th. It's called Mindfire, Diary of an Anxious 20-something.
I saw the cover art and it's so good.
Do you love it?
Yes, I love it. It's
So-
like sexy and cool, but intriguing with like
you.
a flame behind you.
So have you ever seen America's Next Top Model?
Of course.
Nigel Barker shot the cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so fun. I love
Literally
that.
my dream photographer. So
That's
he
really
killed it.
exciting. And your first book, your first adult book, I should say, because you've written a ton of children's books. Your first adult book did great.
It did, yeah. It was a Barnes & Noble bestseller, hit #1 in the dating and intimacy category on Amazon.
Really?
So it was exciting, and as someone who's been writing for so long, to see my solo book do well was just really validating.
How does it make you feel? And I want to get into the mental health conversation, but I'm sure this taps into it. Is having so much success at a young age, does it make you feel good, or is it challenging in some ways?
I think it's a lot of pressure because people kind of look at the fact that you're young, you've done so much, and they're like, okay, what are you doing next?
Hit after hit after hit.
Exactly.
That's the expectation.
It's kind of like, a singer who has like a one-hit wonder when they're like 16 and they're like, okay, what now? Like, are you gonna release an album? And they're like, I'm only 16, like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same way sometimes. Like, my big hit was my children's book when I was 8. So where do you go from when you're 8 years old? Like, you have to keep putting out new things that keep people interested. But I try not to put so much pressure on myself and kind of just move through life by doing things I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'm writing not necessarily to please people, but to help people and to empower people. And that's really what keeps me going and relieves some of the pressure.
It's really interesting that you're so young, if I may say.
I'll take it.
And you've already had such an incredible, accomplished career. Do you think that sharing your story, your journey, and how your life evolves through your writing, books, media is going to be your forever career? Or do you think you'll like pivot at some point?
There's only so much time in the day, and it's so tough because I'm writing books, I'm building my
How
socials.
do you fill your time? What does your like daily routine look like?
Well, today I woke up early. I got pretty bad sleep last night.
Me too.
Went on my Peloton bike, which is my holy grail. I'm a
Really?
Peloton ambassador. I'm obsessed with Peloton.
Wow.
I literally could not say enough
And
things.
a runner. You're like quite an athlete.
Well, Peloton does have running. Like, you can do Peloton outdoor running classes. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. Came here, met you, and then I'm gonna go home, work on some freelance articles that I was assigned, film some stuff for my social media, brand deals, and then tonight I'm going for omakase with my boyfriend. So good.
People who just consume content and don't create content have no idea
So much work goes into
the
it.
lift that goes into content creation.
Especially working with brands, nobody really realizes. They think it's really easy filming a brand deal. These brands have so many guidelines, legal guidelines, where you literally have to film content sometimes like 3 times.
I know.
And revise it. You've probably done that
I mean,
before.
at Love Wellness, like we work with influencers, and I do some, work with other brands, and it can take a full work day to just get round 1 completed and out the door, and then you get the feedback and you're like, oh no,
it's
gonna
the worst.
take me another half a day.
It is literally the worst.
Yeah,
and I used
it's a
to
lot.
want to be such a perfectionist in my content. Like, I would do a full face of makeup and like get my hair all done up for every brand deal. But I'm kind of realizing that what brands like and my followers like is when I'm just authentically me. Like, sometimes I don't have to be wearing a full face of makeup.
Yeah.
Like, I used to, when I was promoting a skincare product, I would hold up the products with a full face of makeup on, and then it would like cut to a scene and I'd have no makeup and I'd be like using the skincare. And I'm like, what is the point in having that opening shot of me with a full face of makeup? Like, you're promoting a skincare brand.
I know what you mean. Honestly, I shoot so much content for work, and the team knows, like, day to day, I don't wear a lot of makeup, and so 70% of the content I send them has no makeup on the face, and I think they wish that I like put a little more effort in, but like I work full time.
And your skin is perfect. You don't need it.
That's very kind. I have a skin care obsession.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be 39 this year. And so, I mean, I can go down these rabbit holes. Right now, I'm really focused on like revamping all of my beauty routines.
It's so good.
I'm really consistent going to my friend Dr. Phil to get lasers on my face. I do Botox like twice a year. I don't do filler anymore. I've had like filler under my eyes and cheeks dissolved because I'm like freaked out that it's going to do weird things.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, you know, because we're both on the internet, consumer facing all the time. And I'm curious for you, especially as somebody who's so young, who really grew up with social media, how has it affected your mental health? And like, are you obsessive about like how you look and how you present to the world?
So, oddly enough, you are.
To a certain degree.
I mean, oddly enough, right now, not really. I think as a teenager, yeah, and I'd compare myself to people online, on social media. But now it's my career, and I've developed a really healthy relationship with social media where I'm posting content almost more than I'm consuming content. And even when I do consume content and see something that makes me insecure, I know that social media is highly saturated, and all of these people are probably like looking at this photo like 10 times before posting it, or picking the best one in their camera roll. I know you hear everywhere social media is a highlight reel, but it really is so true. Like everything you see on social media is very carefully curated before it's posted.
Yeah.
And I just keep that in mind, and it kind of makes me confident when I use it.
I mean, that's really impressive. I think a lot of people struggle with social, whether they're creating content or they're consuming content. And I think there's so much bullying that happens.
Well, that's tough.
I know that's something that like you have talked about a lot. So I'd love to circle back to the mental health toolbox and just kind of like your mental health journey.
Yeah.
And can you share with everyone who is listening or watching kind of like what you've been through and how you've got to where you are today?
Yeah. So in 2020, as I mentioned, it was the pandemic. I was really suffering, as was the entire Gen Z. And one day I was on the couch and just had a panic attack, and I didn't really understand what was happening to me.
Had you ever had a panic attack?
No, I hadn't had a panic attack before, and my mom suggested that it was anxiety. And to me, anxiety and stress were the same thing. Like I didn't really understand the difference. I just thought it was like the butterflies I got before a test at school or something. So I didn't really get it until every single night my breathing was shallow, I was shaking, I like couldn't breathe. So it was just, yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of like panic, and I didn't really understand why. And then one day I was at a pumpkin patch with my friend, and she told me she was going through anxiety and depression to the point where she cut herself. And then she like showed me her wrists, and that image in my head stuck for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I made this association in my brain that if she was going through anxiety and I was going through anxiety, then I was destined to end up like her. Like maybe that was my fate if I had anxiety now. So I would just obsess over that thought, and
obsessive thinking.
Yeah, it was just ruminating over the fact that, you know, I was destined to try to kill myself because that's what people with anxiety do. So I was like lying to myself. And then one day I was so overwhelmed, I finally said to my mom, like, please help me get a therapist. Like, I need to understand what this is. Like, I don't want to hurt myself. I'm just confused, like, why I can't let this thought go.
Yeah.
So I went to the therapist, and the therapist introduced that it's OCD. And similar to anxiety, I had zero baseline knowledge of OCD. I just thought it was like cleaning or organization, kind of like the common ways we see it in the media right now.
Right.
But I didn't
you
really
have to
understand.
flip the light switch, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't really understand it was also obsessive thinking and rumination. And once I started learning about that, it kind of clicked in my brain, and I realized that's what was happening to me. Like the obsessive thought was that I was destined to hurt myself.
Right.
And the compulsion was repeating to myself over and over again, you're not going to hurt yourself because XYZ. You want to live because XYZ. And it would just be this endless cycle of trying to like bring myself back to reality, but then diving back into the thought. And the turning point was really, it was like 1.5 years into this happening. And it sounds kind of like doomsday, but I realized it wasn't going to get better. I kind of just had to learn how to live with it. And instead of being sad, I got angry for the first time. And I turned that anger into like motivation. And I started writing and diary entries about it. And kind of just, I was angry and I said, I really want to get my life back. I miss how happy I was, and it's going to start with me. Like, it's not going to happen if I just sit here wallowing all day and wondering why I feel like this.
Yeah.
So that's where I am now. Obviously, it's been like years since that happened, but I still have different intrusive thoughts every day. Although it's not the same as it was in 2020, I have OCD, I have anxiety. Like, these are things I have to live with and deal with, and I just have to have that toolkit when anxiety or OCD is surging, so I know how to handle it.
Yeah.
That's like the long-winded story.
No, it's really, I'm so impressed by you that at such a young age, you're able to seek out help on your own, because I think a lot of young people really struggle with that because they're afraid of what their parents or their caregiver or their friends might think of sort of the confession, right, that I'm struggling.
Well,
and I
was
think that's
afraid.
a huge, I think that's a big thing for people. And I have so much empathy for your story because my brain works very similarly to yours. I do a lot of obsessive thinking, a lot of rumination, and I have really, really struggled with my anxiety over the past 15 years. I even remember when I was a kid, every time my mom would leave the house, I was like, I'm convinced she's getting in a car accident or something terrible is going to happen to her, and if she would not get back the moment she said she would, phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, so I really understand and empathize. It's so interesting to hear about your experience with this, and that you were able to advocate for yourself at such a young age, because I think the fear of confessing that you are struggling is where a lot of people who are having a problem, like, that's where they get tripped up because they're embarrassed or whatever. I myself like really struggled with that when I was in my mid-20s. I had a really dark period when I was living in New York, you know, after I was finished with The Hills. Before I started Love Wellness, I didn't know what I was going to do next. I was going through I was in a really terrible relationship, and I actually moved home to my parents' house for a little bit, like in my 20s, and felt so ashamed of that. But ultimately, thank God I made the decision to do that, just like you made the decision to go to your parents and say, I need help, because at some point there's a breaking point.
For sure.
And if you don't get that help, that's when really bad things happen. And so I'm just like so relieved for you that you were able to help yourself, especially at such a young age. I can imagine that that was really challenging and really scary.
Yeah, especially with the content of what my OCD was, something as taboo as like self-harm is an OCD topic.
Yeah.
That can be really hard to talk to people about it, because you
sure.
can misunderstand very easily. Like going to someone and saying, hey, I'm having intrusive thoughts about dying. They're like, are you okay? Like, do I need to like check you into somewhere?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like you don't understand. Like this is not something that aligns with who I am. This is not what I believe in.
Right.
And that's what's so misunderstood about OCD. There are all of these different taboo OCD themes and concepts, but they never align with the core of who the person is.
Yeah.
And for that reason, it's really hard to reach out to people and talk about it with people, because people don't understand. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
in my social media through my new book, Mindfire, is just kind of raise awareness and make it a little less taboo so people feel more comfortable reaching out for help.
Yeah, I think what you just talked about, that what you may think about obsessively does not align with your core values, right? And that is like at the heart of what is so misunderstood about anxiety, whether you experience it or you don't experience it. Anxiety tricks you into believing what those thoughts are, and like can trick you into thinking that you need to act on them, right? Until you get that help and understand that the thoughts that you're having does not reflect the situation, the reality of the situation, right?
Yeah, you don't need to be scared of your thoughts if you know deep down that they don't align with the core of who you are.
Yeah.
That's whatever I think to myself now. Whenever I get a new intrusive thought, I stop and I ask myself, how do I really feel about this deep down? Does this align with who I am?
Right.
And if that answer is no, then it kind of helps me move on. But OCD's job is to question who you are. So it's gonna poke at you, it's gonna ask the difficult questions, it's gonna ask you if you're really sure. But deep down in your gut, you know who you are and you know who your values, what your values are, and you have to use that to guide you.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was younger, before I understood anxiety and my anxiety specifically, I really believed like all the thoughts I was having and thought that I needed to act on them, right? Like, you need to do this job, you need to break up with this person, you need to, you know, be friends with that person or not be friends with that person, right? It's like, before you understand it, you think that you need to do what your brain is telling you just to get relief from the thought, from the anxiety, and it can trick you into thinking that you have to take action to relieve yourself of it.
Right.
For me, at least, that's like my personal experience with anxiety.
That's so true. You just have to sit in the discomfort and let it kind of pass over your head, and it's easier said than done.
So much easier said than done. Yeah.
But you know, it's important not to act on anxious thoughts.
Correct.
And I think you know in your heart if a thought is an anxious thought or if it's a real thought that you align with.
Yeah, I think once you start to do the work and just learn these basic fundamentals of anxiety, OCD, depression, it gives you a much better sense of how to keep yourself safe. You know what I mean? What would you say is like the number one thing in your toolbox that helps you?
Besides exercise, which we talked about.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but to ground myself to the present, I use my 5 senses, which is really nice. And I'm not really into like meditation or anything like that.
I love meditation.
Oh my God. A lot of people are. It drives me crazy, but that's another story. But literally, it's a form of meditation. You kind of just sit there, you name 5 things you see, you hear, you smell, you taste.
Yeah.
And it just brings you back to the present. And I feel stupid doing it in the moment. But at the end, I really feel like I'm brought back to reality.
That's really nice, yeah.
That's my number one tool. What's your number one tool?
It's similar in that it helps you come back to reality, because I think that that's what a lot of people who are experiencing anxiety need, is to come back to reality, right? So my therapist at one time said, ask yourself, is this a what if thought or a what is thought?
Oh, I like that.
What if thinking is anxious thinking. Bring yourself to what is. What is right now? I am sitting on a bench in Central Park with Carrie.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm not what ifing right now, right? What ifing is all anxious thinking. What is thinking is like current, grounded, right?
Yeah, it's as simple as just reframing your mindset and becoming aware of what your thought patterns are, so you can just flip that switch and come back to the present.
Yep. Absolutely.
I love that. I'm gonna use that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I love yours, the 5 senses.
Yeah, we're gonna make a toolkit together.
I love that.
Start
Love
building our
Carrie's
toolkit.
Yeah. All right, everybody, it is time for our episode where we do myth or truth. So we have some good questions for Carrie today. Okay, the first question, myth or truth, you should be happy all the time?
Oh, myth, obviously. I don't think anyone's happy all the time.
I know. I don't even think the goal is happiness all the time.
No.
I think in like our society, we're like brought up to believe that like happiness is the goal.
Yeah. But if you're happy all the time, you're not going to feel the moments that are real, true joy. You know, like if you're
Yeah.
sad, it makes the happier moments that much more exciting.
I agree.
So I don't want to be happy all the time.
There's also no growth in constant happiness.
Yeah.
You know, there's no evolution.
I don't know. I feel like it's our job as humans to kind of feel those emotional undulations and live through them because it makes us stronger. Like if you're just baseline happy all the time, you're not going to be an emotionally rich person.
Couldn't agree more. The next myth or truth: medicine is the only solution for mental health concerns.
I don't think it's the only solution. I think it helps. I think it depends on the person. For a lot of people, medication and SSRIs are really, really helpful in treatment, but it's also a combination, I think, of getting help through therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure and response prevention therapy when it comes to OCD. So a lot of times it's a combination of a few things. I don't think we should just throw medicine at people the second they say they're anxious.
Yep.
But it can definitely help.
I don't disagree with you at all. I've had my time with SSRIs, my experience with them, and I have to say, when I learned how to do transcendental meditation in my 20s, ultimately that practice for my brain helps my body more than medication. But I know for a lot of people, medication is really helpful.
Yeah, it totally varies on the person.
Yep,
You
absolutely.
just gotta make sure you talk to a doctor or a professional before you go on medication, obviously.
Okay, our next myth or truth for Carrie, who is a runner.
Yeah,
You just did the half marathon.
yeah.
Runner's high happens to everybody who's a runner. Is that myth or truth?
Everybody who's a runner or just everybody?
Everybody.
Period.
Well, I guess if you're just running.
I don't think you get runner's high. I don't think you want to get runner's high.
I don't know, do you?
I do, of course I do. I'm a runner. I live for endurance running. I get a runner's high when I run like 15 miles on a Saturday.
Wow.
But I know for a lot of people, nothing sounds worse than getting up and running even 2 miles. So no, not everyone gets runner's high,
Okay.
but I do. And I
Not
think if
everybody
you
does that.
do a lot of endurance running, you will too.
Okay. Myth or truth? Nutrition is important for marathon training.
I think it is arguably the most important
Really?
thing for marathon training. You need carbs,
I guess when you think about it, yeah.
you need,
I'm not a marathon runner, so I was like, I guess you just go out there and train.
oh my god, no.
Of course food is important, duh.
Yeah, you need carbs before and after your run. You need to fuel during your run so you don't crash. Especially the week before you run the actual marathon, it's extra important. People talk about the carb load. My first marathon, I hit the wall at mile 20, as people say, because I didn't carb load. I was like, I'm not gonna eat pasta. Like, I don't need pasta the week before.
Turns out you do.
Turns out you do, because this past November, I ran the New York City Marathon again.
Yeah.
And I forced myself to eat pasta multiple days.
Yeah.
And as I was running, I was so grateful I did.
Yeah.
Because I didn't crash that
Or a
time.
lot of sweet potatoes or something.
Literally, I love
Complex
sweet
carbs.
potatoes.
Yeah.
But you need, like, it's more than sweet potatoes. You need, like, bread and pasta and pizza. And I'm such a healthy eater, it kills me. But the week before the marathon, you just gotta swallow your pride and do it.
You know, to a certain degree, you can be like, oh, like I get to indulge and then I do my marathon as a result.
Exactly. But I don't know, it drove me crazy.
Yeah. All right, our final myth or truth question of today's episode, and then Carrie and I are going to go inside because we're cold. You have to be old to write a good book.
You tell me, read my book, let me know. I don't know, I think it's all right.
I think you're a great writer, and
Thank
I
you.
think that is a myth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on today's episode. I know you're so cold.
I know. I need a shower.
We're going to let you go home now. I think you live close by.
I know, I might run home.
Are you going to run home?
I might.
That's a wrap on this episode of Low on the Go. New episodes drop every other Wednesday, so be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening or watching so that you don't miss out. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend, relative, coworker, or anyone looking to prioritize wellness. I am so grateful to have you here, and I'll see you next time. Take care.